What's ironic is every single Sunday when we were in Arizona, me and PJ would go to Robert Kiyosaki's, one of our clients' house. And if you don't know who he is, he wrote one of the most successful finance books, probably the most famous person in the finance space. And every single Sunday, we would go to Robert's house, and he would always be studying either a book where he would be intently highlighting and taking notes on a book that he's already read multiple times. And I shit you not, this happened probably 40% of the time when we would show up. The other 40%, he would be listening to YouTube and it's actually studying, looking to understand. He would be out in the sun, out on his little porch area, or his backyard, which is quite large. He'd be hanging out in the sun and he would be studying videos. Robert is 78 years old and he owns over 10,000 apartments, or at least he's an LP, which just means he's invested in a substantial amount of real estate. He just bought the house, like 4 houses down for him, all cash, and he lives in one of the most expensive areas in the world. He will never need another dollar in his entire life, but he actually practices what he preaches, and he always studies, and he's always looking to get better. I remember one time I was at a conference with Robert. And what I usually do when there's someone speaking, I'm always looking at the crowd because I want to see how good is this presenter at keeping the audience engaged. Because most of the time when someone's speaking up on stage, their goal is to get people to become customers after. And Robert is one of the best speakers of all time. If you've ever seen him live, the audience is engulfed because Robert is so good at making you feel an emotion. He's quite literally one of the best presenters on earth. And that is a skill that can make you a lot of money. But what Robert was doing, and this was an entire day, we were at a mastermind together, and speaker after speaker after speaker, I'm usually listening to the presentators, but then looking around the room to see what's going on. And Robert was the only person taking notes and wanting to understand what the speakers were saying. Where Robert was the oldest and the richest person in the room, he was the only one that cared about getting better. He had no ego. He didn't say, I'm already rich and successful. I know everything, which is what most people do. He genuinely just cares about learning. Another one of my clients, Ken McElroy, he has a very large real estate company with 10,000 plus apartments. He's probably the wealthiest person that I work with. And he will go to at least 2 to 4 conferences every single year on personal development and looking to get better. And he'll take his kids, he'll go by himself because his goal is to get better. And he knows that he has shit that he needs to work on. Another one of my clients, his name is George Gammon. He retired in 2012. He's only in his 50s right now. And he will spend probably 40 plus hours per week, probably more than that, just studying, looking for more information to learn. The moral of the story is you don't stop doing the things that got you to where you were. These people are successful for a reason because of the habits that they did. And they continue to do those habits, which continues to amplify and make them more and more successful. Whereas I've seen young people, the second they start to make a bit of money, they say, okay, I now know everything. I am the Lord and Savior. I'm the smartest person. Now it's time to stop doing the things that got me to the place that I'm at. One of the reasons why I have quite a few other stories with a bunch of other guys that I work with, but all 3 of these people lost everything at one time. Robert lost his entire company at one time. George, he lost an entire company in one sitting. Ken lost his entire company before he started the one that he's currently at. He got completely fucked over. Every single one of them has lost everything. They were rich when they were young. Then they got into some serious fuck up, and then they had to build it back. And all 3 of them said, without fail, that the reason why they lost everything and losing everything hurt way more than not having anything. Because when you grow up with nothing, which all 3 of them did, he said, you don't know what you don't know. You don't know that you can live better. You don't know anything. But when you start to live the high life and you start to get the nice cars and you're doing all these things and you're crushing it, and then you lose everything, that's very difficult. So I often think about, right now, I'm in a very good spot. I do not want to lose everything at all. Ever. But all of them said that the reason why they lost everything is because they got arrogant and their ego got out of control. And they started to think the reason for their success was 100% because of them. And then when you think that, you no longer do the things that got you to the place that you were at. Even though a lot of it is external factors that it's tough to see. But when your ego is hyperinflated, you are blinded by anything that could potentially go wrong. So that's what I don't want to happen to myself. At all. And I'm overlaying that message because I see that's what most young people do, especially when you start to make a relative degree of monetary success. sometimes I do want to fuck around and buy a nice car. And I've thought about it a few times, but staying grounded and realizing that you have to stay disciplined. And so I agreed that I will buy whatever I want when it's from passive income. So instead of buying a $300,000 car, I would rather put that $300,000 down at an investment property, which is going to make me a few $1,000s per month in cash flow and reduce my taxable income. Therefore, I have a win-win. I'm building long-term wealth and keeping more of what I have. And then in the future, if I wanted to buy a nice car, I could use it using the passive income. And I don't fucking need a nice car when I'm 22 years old. It's irrelevant. I don't even need a car. Right now I don't have a car. I actually just purchased one for $350. I'm going to do a car montage when I get it. It's actually my aunt's husband who had just passed away a few months ago. I bought it from her for 350 buckaroos. I actually don't even really know what it looks like yet. But if you think, going back to the beginning of the story, if you think that once you start to see success in making money, you no longer have to study, that could not be further from the truth at all. Therefore, I'm doubling down on trying to get better while still growing the business exponentially. There's a lot of opportunities. We just signed a new client. I have a lot of meetings over the next forever, honestly, with taking on a lot more work. We're growing unbelievably quickly. We're hitting this point of like exponential growth where you could see the income just double and double and double because there's a lot less friction because a lot of the infrastructure has gotten built out. So there's a lot of leeway to scale very quickly right now. And with this new influx of cash, I just want to stay grounded, making sure that I'm doubling down on doing the things that got me to where I am today and trying to make smarter decisions because I don't want to lose everything. And fucking Dunkin' Donuts coffee sucks. The US coffee just sucks in general. I spend a lot of time in South America, and every single time I'm there, I'm just thanking myself for the coffee. And I have a buddy, Jan, because we're going to take out a few of the guys and we're all going to live together for a few months in the summertime. And his first day in Medellin, Colombia, where we're going to spend the summertime, is he got fucking Starbucks. And all I could think was pure disappointment and failure to the world. You don't go to Medellin, Colombia, which has some of the best coffee in the world, and fuck around and get Starbucks. That is criminal. Bogey here would not be okay with that. But I gotta get to work. I got a lot of shit to do today. I have a stupid meeting. I hate meetings. 20 minutes.